Are you looking for a simple, easy beginner block with both a star and a pinwheel in it? Keep watching and I will show you one. Hi, it's Roberta from Quilt Crafters Corner. I originally did this block on day 84 of my Quilt Block a Day challenge during lockdown. This pattern comes from quilterscash.com and it's free for you to print and use. This block consists of half square triangles and flying geese units. There are no little pieces, so this is a good beginner block. I chose fabrics that contrast, in this case, red and brown, so that you could easily see the patterns.
So let's start in the middle. The middle is started with a pinwheel. And this is a 4 by 8 pieces of material of each color. So this is 4 by 8. And then what I have done is I found the middle and then I drew a diagonal from both sides and then I sewed a scant 1/4 inch on each side of that. So this is ready to go. So all I need to do with this is find the middle and cut. So there are my 2 squares. Now I need to cut these in half and then trim them. So I always like to trim my half square triangles. And the way that I trim them is off the center line. That way I know I'm going to get a square off this center line. It just makes for a nicer half square triangle. It also makes it much easier to sew together. So something to be aware of when you're making half square triangles. So there's my half square triangles and those will go all around the middle there like so. I will trim these up. So there's my pinwheel for the center. That will be the center of your block. So I will set that aside. Now let's talk about the flying geese. And that's these units here, 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 and here. There's 4 of them in this. So what you're going to start with is you're going to start with a 3.5 by 6.5. This is 3.5 this way and 6.5 this way. Now the hardest part about this particular block is making sure you get these in the right place in order to develop the pattern. So being very careful and cautious with how I am placing my blocks and where I'm placing my blocks, just be consistent. So that's the biggest thing. The other thing is when I'm using directional fabric like this, that could go either this way or it could go this way. Oh, it's going to end up the same. So it's not. So this is going to be okay. This is going to work okay, but just be careful with directional fabric if you use it in these points so that everything's going the same direction. So this is going to work out just fine for that. So it doesn't really matter which way I put those on. And then this one, well, let me put that aside. So this one is I've got on, and then what I'll do is I'll put this one on. Now when you do this, make sure that you've got a 1/4 inch up here at the top, so that when you go to sew this, you've got enough for your point to be inside of, it's not in your seam, it's outside of your seam. So you've got to be careful about this 1/4 inch up here at the top. So just be careful, be aware of that. So it's really important that here at the top that you know you've got a 1/4 inch between your point and your end of your block so that it'll fit into the block. So here, this one you can see I've sewn this one here, and then it just needs to be pressed back. And then I see, this is what I'm talking about with your 1/4 of an inch. See, I have just a 1/4 of an inch. Actually, I've got a little bit more. I've got a scant more than a 1/4 of an inch. So I will not lose my point there. And that's the important part, that, you know, you're going to go to all this trouble to make sure that these are right. Just make sure you don't lose that point. And here's my finished one. And these are all going to, as you can see, they all go in there like so. And then the last thing you need is 4 3.5 inch blocks, and those go in the corners. So those go here, 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 and here. Now, I believe these were also 3.5 inch blocks. Yes, the flying geese were also 3.5 inch blocks. So you have a 3.5 by 6.5 for the body, and then for the corners are 3.5 inch blocks.
That's today's block. It's called Sarah's Choice. It can be done in any combination of contrasting colors: blue and white, orange and green, even red and brown. It's an easy beginner block that doesn't take much time or much fabric. The block itself finishes out at 12 inches inside a quilt. As you saw, it is 12.5. You lose that 1/2 inch to the 2/4 inch seams. If you want to see more videos like this, like the video and subscribe. Ring the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I upload new videos. If you'd like to be with a group of like-minded quilters, come join Quilter Swarm. It's a private Facebook group. Answer the questions and you can get in. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.